Hello dear students, welcome back. Today we are going to take out a new chapter, chapter number 7, Getting to Know Plants. In this chapter we are going to learn about the types of plants that are growing in our surrounding as well as the different parts of the plant and their functions. So now let us see the types of the plant that is growing in our surrounding. The plants that are growing in our surrounding, they are divided into different categories depending upon their structure and their size. According to these two criteria, the plants that are growing in our surrounding can be divided into 5 different types. Let us see those 5 types of plants. The 5 different types of plants are herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers, and creepers. Let us see what are the characteristics of these 5 types. Herbs are the plant with short height. Above that, the stem of this type of plants are very soft and tender. So such type of plant which have a short height and a tender stem, they are considered to be herbs. The second type of plant is the shrub. Shrub are the medium height plants with hard and woody stem. Next category is the tree. Trees are the type of plant with tall height and a very strong woody stem and branches. The next type of plant are the climbers. Climbers are the type of plant which have a very weak stem. Because of that, they are not able to stand erect by themselves. They need a support to grow. So this type of plants are generally seen growing around other trees or any other type of strong supports. The last category of the plants is known as creepers. Creepers are also type of plants which have a weak stem. They are not able to stand erect. They are not able to grow erect. They used to run on the ground surface. Because of this reason, creepers are also known as runners. So these are the types of plants which are divided depending upon their height and the structure of their body. Now, let's come to the parts of a plant. The body of a plant can be divided into 2 different parts. One growing underneath the ground, which we call it as a root. And another one going above the ground, which we call it as a shoot. So, roots are the parts of the plant which are growing underneath the soil, while then of the shoot are the parts of the plant which are growing above the soil. The shoot is made up of different parts again. The stem, trunk, leaves, fruits, flowers. So, these are the parts of the plant that are present in the shoot portion of a plant. So, now let us see one by one each and every part of the plant in details. The part of the plant which we are going to take up at first is the stem. Stem is the main portion of the shoot part of the plant. It holds the leaf, fruits, flower, and the branches. This stem performs a very important function, that is to supply water and minerals that is absorbed by the root to different parts of the plant. Above that, it also helps in transporting the food materials that is produced inside the leaf during the process of photosynthesis to different parts of the plant. So now, let us see the next part of the plant which are attached on the stem. The next part that we are going to discuss is the leaf. Leaf is a broad colored structure that is present attached on the stem. When we see leaf, most of the leaf have a broad nature. This leaf, in it there is a presence of line structure. These lines that are present on the leaf, we call it as a veins. Here, there are different parts of the leaf. This broad structure of the leaf, which are generally green in color, it is known as lamina. The lamina is attached to the stem by the help of a stalk-like structure, which we call it as a petiole. On this lamina, the veins are arranged in different manner in different plants. The arrangement of veins on the lamina, we call it as a venation. If we observe carefully the leaves that are found in our surrounding, we will be able to see 2 different types of venation. In some of the plants, the leaf of the plants have veins in which the veins runs like a network intercrossing one another. Such type of venation we call it as a reticulate venation. While in some of the plants, like that of the grass, where the leaves are long, we will be able to see that the veins runs long and they doesn't cross one another. Such type of venation we call it as a parallel venation. The leaves perform a very important function for the plant. They trap the sunlight obtained from the sun, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and water from the soil that is taken up by the roots. In the presence of the green color pigment that is present on the leaf, known as chlorophyll, they perform a very important process known as photosynthesis. This process of photosynthesis helps the plant to make their own food. Because of this process only, the plants, even if they are not moving here and there, they are able to make their own food, and this food is utilized by every part of the plant to grow and to survive. So this is about the leaves. Now let us come to the next part of the plant. The next part of the plant that we pick up is root. As discussed before, root is the part of the plant which grows underneath the soil. The root performs some important functions. One of the most important functions that is performed by the root is the absorption of water and minerals from the soil. The second function performed by the root is that they anchor the plant in the soil and help them to stand erect. Next is they prevent soil erosion by holding the soil tight. So these are some of the functions that are performed by the roots. In different plants, the roots are arranged in different manner. Depending upon that, the roots that are present in different plants can be divided into two types. One is known as the taproot, another one is known as the fibrous root. Let us see what is taproot and what is fibrous root. When we uproot a small plant, in some of the plant we will be able to see that there is a presence of a main root, and from that small roots, branches are arise. Such type of root in which there is a presence of a main root, and from that different small branches arise, such type of root we call it as the taproot. In some of the plant like the grasses, when we uproot the plant, we will be able to see that the root arises from a single portion that is connected with the shoot portion of the plant, like the grass. In such type of root, the length of all these roots are similar. Such type of root system or such type of root we call it as a fibrous root. So depending upon the nature of the roots are divided into two types. One is a taproot, another one is a fibrous root. Let us remind once again what is taproot and what is fibrous root. Taproot is the one in which the root have a main root, and from that small branches arise. The length of the main root will be longer than the branches. While in case of the fibrous root, all the roots arise from the base portion of the plant attaching to the shoot portion. And the length of each and every root, they are similar to one another. So these are about the roots. Now let us come to the next part of the plant. The next part of the plant that we are going to discuss is the flower. Till now, the three parts that we discussed before, those are stem, leaves and root. They are known as the vegetative part of the plant. While the flower that we are going to discuss now is known as the reproductive part of the plant. It is because the flower helps in the development of seed and propagation of the plant. Now let us study about flower in detail. When we observe the general structure of a flower, the flower contains four different parts. The four parts of the flower are the outermost part, which is green in color, and it is known as the sepals. The second part is the bright color structure, which is known as the petals. The next part is known as the stamen. And the last and the innermost part of the flower is known as the pistil. Out of these four parts, the pistil and the stamen helps in the development of the seed and fruit, while the petals and the sepals doesn't have any role in the development of the seed. The sepals provide protection to this flower in the young stage, while these bright colored petals helps in attracting insects for performing a type of process known as pollination. The next part, that is the stamen, it is known as the male reproductive part of a flower. The stamen consists of two parts. One is the long tube-like structure which is known as the filament. While there is the bulge structure that is present at the tip of the filament, it is known as the anther. The anther present on the tip of the filament produces a small seed-like structure which is known as the pollen grain. And this pollen grain takes part in the process of pollination to develop the seed inside the flower. Now, let's come to the pistil. When we see the structure of the pistil contains three different structures. One is a flat sticky structure that is present at the tip, which is known as the stigma. The second one is this long tube, which is known as the style. And the last one is the swollen base, which is known as the ovary. The stigma is the portion where the pollen grain from the anther is transferred. And from here, the pollen grain will be passed inside the style and it will finally reach the ovary. Ovary is the structure of the pistil where the development of the seed takes place. When we cut this ovary and when we see it in this manner, then we will be able to see that there is a presence of small compartments. And in these small compartments, the seeds are developed. These small compartments that is present inside the ovary, we call it as the ovule. So inside the ovule, there is a development of the seed, and ovule is present inside the ovary. So here, for the development of the seed and the fruits, the stamen and the pistils are involved. Because of this reason, we call these two parts of the flower as the reproductive part of a flower. So this is the general structure of a flower and these are the different parts of a flower. Now let us see what happens after the anther is transferred to the stigma and after they fuse to form seed. After the seed is formed, the seed, when it falls in an area and receives sufficient conditions, then they perform a process known as germination. So germination is the process in which the seeds get transformed or develop into a plantlet or a small plant. So let us see what happens during the process of germination. Germination is the process of developing a baby plant from the seed. For germination, the seed needs water, air, and nutrients. Water is obtained from the soil, the air is obtained from the atmosphere, while the nutrients is supplied by the cotyledon portion of the seed itself. So if we see a seed and if we soak it in water for some time, then at the starting they develop a small structure that grows downward. This structure that grows downward is known as the radicle, and in the future it will develop into root. After the radicle is developed, another structure will develop again from the same portion where the radicle is formed and it will grow upward. This structure is known as the plumule, and this plumule will develop into future shoot. So this is what happens during the process of germination. After the process of germination, this seed will develop into a new plant. So these are the things that we discuss in this chapter. So with this, we come to the end of this chapter. In next video class, we will come up with a new chapter. So for today, let us wind up here, dear students. Thank you.